So I have to share with you a really cool something that I found here in the last year and a half or so of my readings. I always thought prior to, so I am also a nurse, but I'm a medium, right? I help connect people to their loved ones on the other side. I always thought that science was so separate from mediumship, right? It's like the physical, the non-physical, it's like everything we can understand and study versus what we can't. However, I have to share that I have had quite a few people referred to me in the last year and a half by therapists, counselors, people that are working through their grief as an adjunct to healing grief. This is why I think it's so important. For one, it's important to be able to talk to somebody about grief and really work on the grief portion, the side. I think it's important to find a therapist or a counselor, especially when you're really feeling like you need help in working through that. But I feel like there is a huge aspect that, in a way, people that are working through and healing their grief benefit from mediumship in an adjunct therapy way. It's because, for one, we're able to work through here by counseling and therapy, right? Our emotions, everything we're feeling, kind of understanding that it's okay, that all of the thoughts and feelings that we're having are completely normal, and that grief isn't healed overnight. However, I think an important aspect to that is the spiritual side, which is understanding that we are not just physical. Life is a little blip in our soul's existence, and understanding that our loved ones are around us and supporting us when we're going through grief. We're not always able to think completely rationally, although it completely sucks because our loved ones are no longer here with us in the physical world. Understanding that they are okay and still around us and aware of things that we're going through and supporting us, and there is an afterlife that our souls live on, I think is an important adjunct to people being able to help work on or through their grief. And that's because it helps us to look through life with a different lens. We can see things through a little bit of a different picture. And we know that although we don't have our loved ones in the physical, they're aware of all the things that we're going through still and are by us, and that we are going to reconnect at some point. Because when you're going through the midst of grief and you're having all these thoughts and fears, maybe there is no afterlife, maybe I'll never see my loved one again, that kind of a thing, it just makes our grief worse. So I think it's amazing and beautiful that counselors and therapists are actually kind of starting to use mediums and recommend them in an adjunct way, because I think it's so important to address not only the physical, but also the spiritual aspect of death and grief.